LC the beat guy.
Hello, Ale, how are you?
I'm very well, Dr. Vicky. Good to be back on the show.
Yes. Welcome, Mr. Elvis.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. You didn't tell me that we are doing African today. None of you told me now.
Surprise.
And I'm wearing English. I could have put on my gateway and my, I don't like this. So, yeah.
Save it for next time.
Welcome. No party today, Elvis.
No, no party in that sense, but I actually was involved in another community engagement today.
Okay.
Yeah, I've gone out, done the visit, and then back again. Yeah.
Good to see you, Elvis. Welcome back.
Okay. Thanks, Wale.
All right. Yeah, you are welcome. Yeah. So here we are again. It's been a week since we met, and between last Saturday and now, there's been a lot of stuff that happened. And let's go around and just talk about we are not calling it update. So we're talking about what is trending. So let's start with Elvis.
All right. The biggest one that is trending right now is the abduction or rearrest of Nnamdi Kanu. I understand that occurred a couple of days ago. Sunday, that's the information available to me. Well, he's back in Nigeria. He's been taken forcefully back to Nigeria, and the court proceedings will commence again. On the backdrop of that as well, Sunday Igboho residence was attacked. I saw on social media his house had been vandalized to a large extent, gunshots, bullet holes in some cars he parked in the compound. We saw traces of blood on the ground within his premises. Apparently, it appears some people have been shot as well. And then we had seen a large cache of arms, which the DSS or the authorities claimed were recovered from his residence, charms and all of that. So, yeah, pretty interesting. The government is on a spree to shut everyone obviously down. They think that's the best approach. But yeah, that's what I've seen. That's what's trending at the moment.
All right. Thank you, Elvis. Wale, you are on mute.
Yeah, for me as well, I follow events in the last week, and I think the most important news earlier in the week was the arrest, or if you want to call it arrest, of rearrest of Nnamdi Kanu, and all the stories surrounding that. A lot of theories around that arrest. Initially, He was rumored to have been picked up in Brazil, and then there was all the story that was actually picked up somewhere in Europe, maybe in Eastern Europe. And later in the week, then we heard that it was actually picked up in Kenya. So a lot of different stories and different angle, but obviously, unless one is living under the rock, I think that has been the major news of the week. And apparently, the same thing with the police or DSS invasion of Chief Adeyemo Igboho, Sunday Igboho's residence at Ibadan, and the signs of the repressive state that we're getting into Nigeria under a democracy. Sometimes I have to actually remind ourselves that we're not back in Abacha era, that we're actually in democracy. To see the extent of police brutality and the use of state agencies, resources to actually, oppress people. In the same country where we have, for years, bandits roaming about on the street freely, terrorists and all that. And we even have Gumi and the rest with the police and the SS going to the bush to really negotiate with these bandits. It's just really appalling to see the extent of this government, that's the level of decay that we can actually see. And of course, amidst all the dramas, there's also the Ijagbadubai aspect of it, like, with due respect to my Egbon Yemi, when Sunday Igboho's residence was raided, apparently a cat was actually arrested as part of that. So there was a cat, a black cat, and they probably thought that Sunday Igboho, with all his magic, turned to a black cat because they couldn't find him in his residence. Apparently, they actually arrested that cat and they took that cat into custody. So that was really Dubai. Are we really all right? In that country. So that's just my update as well. I just follow I think these are my two major updates for the week as well.
Yes, we said no updates. We call it.
What's trending? Okay, I'm an old school. I'm an old school. I'm getting used to the the real thing. Okay, what is trending?
What is trending? Yes. No. Yes. Those are the main. I mean, the initial plan for us was to talk about Nnamdi Kanu and his arrest and everything to do with the cry for we want to separate and stuff. And then Igboho's case happened. But amongst all of this, I kept looking at different scenarios, different things that are happening in Nigeria, in Yoruba land, for instance, with people coming onto social media and just cursing each other, abusing each other when it comes to Baba Ijesha. So I look at Baba Ijesha's case, and I look at the comedian the old man Bill Cosby's case, and I thought that, and it got to a point I was like, now what is actually going on? Are we being told the truth? Are the truth, what really happened, being twisted right in front of us like this? Because when they when they bailed Baba Ijesha, the amount of congratulations, the amount of, people were so joyful. And I started thinking, this guy, did he do anything wrong? I mean, we saw the video that was released. We heard what he did. So what is actually going on in our communities, in our society? and there was a place where I saw him dancing, and K1 was singing for him, you know, in line of Enita Baba ni ba ni kini kon olole, be something like that, you know. I praising him, and this guy was dancing. I'm not sure whether that just happened.
That was an old clip. That was an old clip. It was an old clip. Yeah.
Just brought that one out. Okay.
Yeah, just brought it out. Yeah.
Oh, I pray so, because that shouldn't have happened in this.
You know, I'm 100% sure it was an old clip. Yeah.
But it's quite scary that what are we teaching our younger ones? I mean, somebody did something wrong. It not just anything, not stealing. What he did actually can ruin somebody else's life. But okay, he was bailed, and then people were joyful, people were, you know, and I'm like, can we sit down and actually think what is going on? And so for me, that is something that's been on my mind, that sometimes we build people up in our mind, we raise them to that place, and they just feel so invincible. Is that what is happening with Bill Cosby also? I mean, I don't know. So I guess we just move on to today's show, because we have a lot to discuss. And I've actually invited Stephen to come along, Stephen Omifolaji. Okay. Instead of him talking and it's just in my ears, how about you join us today and be part of our discussion, since our guest of honor is not able to make it?
Yeah,
that's okay.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
While you're doing that, Vicky, in relation to Baba Jesha's case, it might be the case of, well, number one, it could be Stockholm syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
It might also be the case of, you know, you're innocent until you're proven guilty in the law courts. Yeah, so, and I guess that's probably why those sympathizers are, or his fans were, you know,
Elvis, yeah. The video, I mean, when they said they set him up, his action, what he did there, suggested it all. If somebody was reporting that he did this to me, that's another thing.
Yep.
They put him, if you're not a thief, if they put 1 naira, 10 naira, $1 there for you to be able to catch you, if you're not a thief, you won't go there and be stealing now. You just look at it, take your eye. But this guy, they put him in that position, and he didn't go all out. There was one of these elderly actor who made such a terrible comment that he didn't actually do anything, that he didn't actually rape the girl, you know, in the video. But sexual act, you don't even actually need to do it 100%. But the fact that the act, all the actions just showed us that if not because he knew that somebody may walk in, he would have done whatever he wanted to do. So for me, yes, they might have accused him of something, but there's a video. Were they acting in that video? Was that old Nollywood movie? Was that Yoruba-wood movie?
Don't get me wrong, Vicky. I'm just trying to provide an explanation of what could possibly make people.
The reason why people are doing that,
be supportive of him and celebrate him when he was granted bail. That's all.
And that is so scary for me, because we're talking about Yoruba nation, we're talking about Igbo nation, we're talking about whatever nation, something like that, that we cannot put sentiment aside and say what is wrong is wrong. What is you have a problem, and yes, you didn't go and look for a solution to your problem. You cannot keep damaging. How many others has it done that to? So I'm really, really scared. Even if we go on our way, what are we gonna build on if we cannot deal with something as something like that, you know, and look at it with you know, be
level of
reasonable.
objectivity, yeah.
Exactly, be objective in terms of putting ourselves in the position of that young girl, or as a father, as a mother, what if this child is my child?
Absolutely.
Because if somebody else's, you just don't care. Oh no,
Mhm.
this guy makes me happy, you know, it's funny, blah blah blah. Then you just let go, you let go of your senses. Those are the things I kept on pondering on. That what kind of Nigeria are we having these days? So I'm sorry to be so emotional about it. It's quite something
No,
that
no, no, no.
gets on my nerve.
Don't be
Mm,
sorry. It's a very, very sensitive topic, and I think most, reasonable people will reason along the same line that, as Elvis said, there's a presumption of innocence that is the fundamental to any democratic society. But at the same token, in most societies, if someone has been accused, that you see people just maintaining that decorum, they won't come out jubilating when that person
definitely.
has been granted bail. They want to
Mm,
wait until the end of that whatever trial before they
mm,
could actually identify with that person. You
exactly.
see, you see sponsors cutting ties, you see even associates cutting ties, you see people just maintaining their distance.
Distance.
Probably they won't go at the extent of condemning him or find him guilty without
Mm,
being found guilty in the court of law. But you see
mm,
all the body language, everything will suggest that this man is on his own. You will see that, but in our part of the world, is a lot of
distance.
atrocities, and
Mm,
people just we struggle to find a common ground on most things, and
mm.
it's just unfortunate. Yeah.
All right. So I think we will get started. I'm not sure if Egbo, he didn't say he won't be joining us. Maybe he will join us later on. Now, before we move on to today's show, what is going on right now in Lagos? Did anyone check that out?
I did before we came online. Um, there's heavy police presence at Ojota,
Mm,
the initial meeting point for the
Yeah.
Yoruba Nation rally. So
mhm,
initially, I saw a few video clips where police were dispersing people with, these hot water tanks and what have you. Initially, police outnumbered um,
the
the
people.
protesters. Well, they've said they are not really protesters. They are actually going on the rally. Police actually outnumbered them. But people came out.
Right.
Before we actually came
Mhm,
online, I saw a few other videos where people
right.
actually came out, and just to, in a way, to show that they cannot be, silenced by the government, that they need to come out and make their position known. And I say, my salute to them for coming out in the face of the oppression that and repression that we are witnessing under this government. For
Mm,
people to really come out boldly and say, look, we're still in a democracy. Another
exactly.
democracy, we still have the right to protest or
Protest, yes.
rally, whatever we really want to call it. That is the fundamental of democracy. So I say good on them for actually coming out and saying no to repressive government of Buhari.
Mm. All right. So people they didn't give up. That's just the
No, no,
mhm,
no.
mhm.
People
I,
came out, and I think the number is going to get really, really big and bigger, towards the day. Yeah.
mm. All right. So let's get started, please.
Thank you very much. And look, we've had the background. So we're talking about, the topic is Buhari's government determination to silence secessionists in light of arrest of Nnamdi Kanu, IPOP leader. Is it a smart move for Sunday Igboho and others to continue with their agitations? So probably we're far ahead of this event, because we picked this topic just some days before even Sunday Igboho's house was invaded. um, so to get the ball rolling, I'll start with Elvis. Um, I just want to, in terms of the rearrest of Nnamdi Kanu, can you just take our viewers back to the circumstances initially surrounding the initial arrest? the trial of Nnamdi Kanu for treasonable felony and all other charges. And what do you know about the current situation, especially in relation to his arrest? Some days ago.
Oh yeah, Wale. Thank you for that. If I recall clearly, Nnamdi Kanu was arrested in 2015. And the reason for the arrest at the time was he was asking for the state of Biafra. And when he was arrested, the government slammed enough charges ranging from treason to money laundering and all of that, and also kept him incarcerated for about 2 years. I reckon the reason for keeping him that long was again maybe lack of proof on the government side. Those allegations they had come up with. Now, the law courts in Nigeria had granted Nnamdi Kanu bail on a number of occasions, but the federal government still held Nnamdi Kanu in custody, not acceding to the orders of the courts to release Nnamdi Kanu at the time. Eventually, he was released, and the terms of his bail at the time were not mean fit, because they needed a senator, someone who was residing in Abuja and had a landed property. I can't recall all the other conditions, but
yep.
Yeah, but those conditions were met, and then he was granted bail. And he was, on my understanding at the time, he was, still going to courts, even though the judge had given a number of orders what he could and could not do. He couldn't hold public rallies. He couldn't do this. He couldn't do that. But the federal government was not patient enough to see that litigation come to an end. And what they did, I think, was it 2018 or so, was they sent the military to his country home. I think at that time it was tagged Operation Python Dance. Is correct, Wale? Operation Python.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Some lives were exterminated. People were killed within his community, so we understand. And then Nnamdi Kanu made a run for it for fear of his life. I mean, it's just a natural instinct for even an animal, it's only a tree you tell, I'm coming to cut you down, and the tree will stand there and wait for you to cut it down. This was a case that was already in court. He had been granted bail. What were the military doing in his house? What was the essence of sending the military? So I guess, like everyone else, any sensible human being, he became, for fear of his life, he had to make a run for it. Now, and he's been outside the country for some years now. On the backdrop of his recent arrest, no, I can't say categorically, because we have had, as you mentioned earlier, Wale, we have heard so many versions of how he was arrested. The last one being that he was arrested in Kenya.
Yep.
And taken back to Nigeria. And I saw a clip where he was in court with a hood, with a hood. His face wasn't shown to the camera. He was, and the press. I also understand the press were not allowed into the court space. So at the moment, no one not a lot of information is available to me in relation to the recent arrest. I know if there was if there was no persecution, if the government was going to diligently prosecute Nnamdi Kanu and grant him a fair trial, I think, and without the threat of the military, I don't think he would have absconded the way he did. I would do the same. It's just natural. It's a natural instinct of even an animal that if you feel threatened, you've got to take necessary steps to ensure your life is preserved. I mean, I still don't understand why, if they had a case in court at the time, the military went to his house and did what they did. Yeah, so that's the much I know about his initial arrest and what's playing out at the moment.
So, in terms of the security situation in southeastern Nigeria, and also in terms of the overall political situation, in your opinion, I know it's still very early days. In your opinion, what should we expect from that side of the country in the face of this, outright, show of force by this government? What should we really expect from from either IPOB or other groups that are sympathizers to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu?
Now, Wale, the civil war, Nnamdi Kanu should be in his 50s at the moment. Yeah, he must have been a little kid, a toddler, when that war was fought so many years ago. The issues that led to that war have not been addressed till date. The same issues that led to the war are the same, similar to the issues that have led to different groups, different individuals and groups and sections of the country, asking for separate states. The government has not shown any genuine willingness or commitment to resolving these issues that led the country to fight the initial civil war. I mean, the show of force is not going to help anything. At best, the government should engage people, have a conversation with them, and look at, honestly look at the problems that they think exist in the country and the reason why these individuals are agitating, and make a conscious effort at resolving these issues. Now, it depends. My thoughts are it will depend on the way this pendulum swings. Are they going to prosecute Nnamdi Kanu diligently and legally? Are they going to grant him a fair trial? Or are they just going to persecute him because they are in position of authority and they're sitting behind the barrels of the gun? So if he's not managed carefully, I fear that the agitation will continue. As you and I know, nature abhors vacuum. Even if Nnamdi Kanu is not there, 1,000 Nnamdi Kanus will rise up tomorrow. That's what I feel. That's what I think is going to happen until a conscious effort is made genuinely at addressing this problem. We're not going to get anywhere with it. And one last word, Wale. If the federal government will dissipate the same amount of effort they have dissipated in chasing down Nnamdi Kanu and Sunday Igboho going to his house and doing what they did a few days ago, if they put the same efforts in hunting down the headsmen or the terrorists, the ones that have been kidnapping and killing people and causing this problem all over the place, I don't think we'll be where we are today. If they can just make a conscious effort, half of what they've put in attempting to shut these guys down, put a minimal effort towards addressing the security situation in the country, I think we'll all be better for it. But the way they are going, it is not on at all. Self-determination is a right of the people. Catalan in Spain have been asking for a referendum. There was one in Scotland where they voted whether they needed to remain part of the United Kingdom.
The kingdom.
Britain voted the other day. It was a referendum to leave the EU. The Kurdish region in Iraq, there's been, I mean, so referendum is that people asking for a conversation, I don't think is really a nasty thing. It's just, expressing their rights.
Thank you very much, Elvis. I'll move to, we just lost Dr. Stephen Omifalaji, so it's good to have you on the program, Dr. Omifalaji. Hopefully you, if it's technological or network issue, we hope to see you back very soon. So I move to Dr. Vicky. Okay, Dr. Steve Omifalaji, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, my brother Wale.
Yeah, thank you. It's good to see you, and it's good to have you on the program to contribute to discussion on this important topic.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Okay, so are we good to you now? In the intro, there was a talk around initially a lot of discussions around the Yoruba Nations rally, which is currently holding in Lagos, as we speak. During the week we had a lot of speculations whether that rally will hold or not. But before we came on, online, I was following events, from Lagos. So what do you make of that agitation, that self-determination, in terms of, it's very clear now that the government is focused on any form of, views expressing self-determination, any form of secessionist group? We can see clearly that the government is out there just to crush them. And we can also see what happened to Sunday Igboho, some days ago. What is your take in terms of one, Sunday Igboho and the others?
Yeah.
Is it really a smart move for them to continue with their agitation in light of the unprecedented level of force by this government?
I think, thank you very much, my brother Wale, and thank you so much to my brother Elvis for being around. My wife asked me if I can come along today just to be with you to see what's going on. I've been following the events in Nigeria for quite some time now, and all I see is so depressing in the way the matter is being handled by the government. The way I see what is going on is that, well, people are getting fed up with what is happening in the system, and they are getting bolder and bolder to come out and to hear their views and to demonstrate what they want to happen. It's good and it's encouraging to see people really saying, we are fed up with this, we want a change, and we don't want the old system to continue. A system that holds a particular section of the country in servitude to the advantage of a minority. Yeah, it is good to see that people are actually bold enough to come out and demonstrate that. And the fact that the people are able to come out in Lagos, despite the intimidation of these all the police officers that are being, they are being puppet control from the top to suppress the people, to see that people are actually coming out to face all those people and refuse to be bullied, to be shut down, is encouraging to see what is going on. But what I also see here is a government that is continuously blundering, in the way they are handling the situation. We have a system, we have a chaotic situation going on now for many years, where people are being kidnapped, they are being tormented, and they're being harassed, they are being just generally mistreated all over the place. No sense of security. And this same government shows ineptitude by not actually arresting the culprits. They are not taking the Boko Haram seriously. They have not been able to chase them or shut them down. Now, when people are now trying to demonstrate in the South to say, look, the situation in the country is unacceptable, let us change. If there cannot be a change, we have the right to self-determination. We want to go our own way. And they are now clamping down on them. As we speak, I hear that the Boko Haram or another Muslim faction, they are actually flying a flag in the north, or is it Niger State or so, that they are actually going to separate the place and control the place on their own. I don't think government has taken any action. somewhere close to Abuja, they are actually flying a flag to actually declare that they are in control of this section of the country. I haven't seen them moving the military or moving the tank to go and actually arrest those people. They haven't done anything about that. But in Yoruba land and in the Igbo land, in the southeast and the southwest, where people are saying we don't.
We've lost Dr. Stephen Omifolaji there. While we're waiting for him to
back on now.
Are you okay?
Yeah. Sorry for the small break in transmission. Is the technology that is disappointing a little bit. So in conclusion, my take is that, well, the struggle is going through an evolution. It's slowly evolving. All right. Now, it's getting to that point where now the government is taking them seriously and, of course, trying desperately to shut them down, to try to intimidate them. That's why they start chasing, chasing Nnamdi Kanu. They start chasing Igboho, Sunday Igboho. We've seen these kind of tactics before. Even when we were in school, when we demonstrate that they must go, we do anything, what they do, they target the leaders. They try to target the leaders and to shut them down in an attempt to actually intimidate the followers, to just definitely dissipate them. But in this case, because the reason why people are actually fighting and the reason why people are shouting and the reason why people are complaining, that reason is very much in the face of everybody. This is not going to go away. And just like my brother said earlier on, Elvis mentioned it, if you remove Nnamdi Kanu or you remove Igboho, there are thousands of Igbohos, there are thousands of Nnamdi Kanu that are going to come to the surface, because the very reason why these people came forward, that reason is still there. The circumstance and the situation that actually brought them out is still there. So it's only a matter of time. Others will replace it. But I can see that there's going to be a change of tactics. If they are coming to the surface and you are shutting them down, you have identifiable figures that you can negotiate with, that you can say, oh, let's be part of the solution to this problem. Let us discuss and find a solution. And you are not actually engaging them, but you are actually just shutting them down and chasing them around like rats. Then what will happen? They will go underground. And when they go underground, you don't have a face to negotiate with anymore. And they are likely to be much more, violent. Because they say those who make peaceful change difficult, they make the violent one inevitable. So unfortunately, we could have probably seen either of two scenarios. A situation where people who are agitating for a change will go underground and start really to terrorize the government that is there, because that's what they're going to build for themselves. And in that case, they have no visible face to negotiate with. People are going to now say, okay, is it the gun that people are using to intimidate us? What stops us from getting gun too? You can get gun, the people can get guns. They can, South Africa is there. Gun is so free there. People are going to go and get guns. They have the money. Some people have got a lot of money. They'll go and buy the guns. They'll bring it to the country. And the same guns that they are using to intimidate people, people are going to use it to fight back. And when that is going on all over the country, how do we move forward? And because they see that, or you sit down quietly like a mumu, and they just come in, and this herdsman continue to shoot you and continue to gun you down. And if you don't want that to happen, you'll have to defend yourself. And like everybody else, they have a right to defend themselves. So there's going to be a lot of violence going forward. And it's very sad. But if the government is still not ready to actually engage with anybody, to talk to anyone, unfortunately, this is a scenario we're going to be witnessing. And it's going to be getting worse by the day. I just hope some sense will prevail on the side of the government, that they can show leadership really. But they've not shown it so far. They've never shown it before. I don't think they're going to show it now. And to avoid genocide, I would say people are going to go and arm themselves and defend themselves, because what is happening right now, it appears to me as if the government is tying the hand of the people of the South, the Southern Nigeria, is tying their hands behind their back, putting the handcuffs there, and then unleashing the herdsmen or whatever terrorists they have from the North against them and say, it's just a civil fight. Let them fight and solve the problem. How do you solve the problem? When you are holding some people's hand back and you are not allowing them to defend themselves, you are not providing that defense for them, and you are now saying it's just not a problem. Instead of arresting those people who have come to somebody else's house to actually overtake them and invade their properties, invade their land, you have not arrested them. You are arresting the people whose land has been invaded. It is a miscarriage of justice. And it's just going to continue to anger people, and things are going to deteriorate much further if the course of this event is not changed. That's my take on it, bro.
Thank you very much, Dr. Omifolaji. You've really touched on, broadly on some of these issues, but I'll still come back later. I'll try to break it down.
Thank you.
I'll move to Dr. Vicky now. Whatever is happening now between Igboho and the government and, the current situation, about 2 weeks ago, we saw the handwriting on the wall when some groups, like most of these motor park touts, a lot of them that are loyal to a Lagos politician, when they came out strongly, condemning Sunday Igboho, and also they spoke against the Pran rally in Lagos. They came out boldly, and they were really, so you could really see the handwriting on the wall. We have their godfather who is planning to become the president in 2023. And then you have a group within the Southwest who are also clamoring for a Yoruba nation. So you can see that conflict already in terms of someone wants to be the president and some other people wants to go away, from that part of the world. So my next question goes to Dr. Vicky. How do you see strategically for Igboho and his group in terms of what is happening now? So there's a battle between him and the federal government on the one hand, but also when you even come down to Southwest Nigeria, where he's championing the cause to be, for our self-determination. We have a lot of vested interest because of 2023 that are really, really against him. So strategically, how do you think he can navigate? Because whatever we saw 2 days ago, the attack, that was just the tips of the iceberg. Strategically, what are your thoughts in terms of steps that Sunday Igboho can take?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, it's just unfortunate that this is not new. I mean, it was done to Baba Awolowo, it was done to others. But at this day and age, the key is this man seems to be working for us, seems to be saying enough is enough. But out of it all, those people who are benefiting, those people who have been paid 500 naira, those people who have been given a bag of rice that wants to sell, happy to sell their birthright, will sell out. So at the end of the day, Sunday Igboho needs to understand or needs to focus on his reason why he started this movement. If his why is bigger than himself, he'll keep going and not back off. I've heard it or read it somewhere whereby some Nigerians living in Nigeria are actually blaming those in diaspora for the cry of war in Nigeria. I've seen it several times and I've seen them echoing it. And my question to such people is, we are not the one living there. We are not the ones scrabbling for 500 naira to be able to feed our family. We are thinking about what kind of Nigeria we're going to have in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, which is the reason why we're doing what we're doing. Sunday Igboho's family isn't in Nigeria. They are not living in Nigeria. His wife and his children, they live overseas. But he's still putting his head on the line that no, we don't want this anymore. And unfortunately, our people that will want to betray him. But at the end of the day, the reason why he started this should be above everything else. He should keep going back to his reason why.
Thank you very much. And Dr. Vicky, you've spoken eloquently on these points in many of our discussions around, whatever we do, that people should always remember to go back to that's the reason. Why did you start in the first place? In terms of whatever rugged roads ahead, you should always go back to, okay, why did I start this in the first place? That if Mr. Igbo, if you're listening, or some of your aides, if they are listening, just a word advice for you there by Dr. Vicky. Don't forget the why of why you are back on the struggle. It's Elvis. Okay, I just want to again, my next question we go to Elvis, and is also again around you've touched on. There was a question that you've actually touched on, which I will just jump. I will skip that question. You've already you mentioned that I was around the fact that people have argued that if the government had pursued, the bandits and herdsmen the way they are pursuing Kanu and Igboho, probably Nigeria would be a safer place. So I had a question along those, but you've actually covered that in your initial response. But I will go. Another one is this: Kanu's arrest is symbolic and a deliberate message from the ruling political class. Is it time for self-determination groups, especially those prone to use of violence, to change their strategies? Elvis, the arrest of Kanu, and within a week, I remember I read a piece by Dr. Momodu earlier today, which he titled a series of James Bond movies. That is where something along those lines. That you see that same week, Nnamdi Kanu was rearrested. That within a few days, then there was this attack on Igboho's, at Igboho's residence. Obviously, that was a clear message from the government, sending a clear message to them. So, what do you think? We are not expert on anything here. We're just trying to offer, views and everything. But what do you think in terms of our strategies, especially those of them that are prone in their message to use of violence? What should they do strategically not to fall into the trap of the government?
Well, the government is hell bent on shutting people down, regardless of how they approach the issue. We don't advocate for violence. We've never done so on this program. That is still my stance. But either way, however you look at it, the government's position is to shut everyone down, whether you're just talking mere rhetorics, or you're making threats, or whatever it is, as long as it relates to self-determination, the separate states, be it Ududua or Biafra or the guys who are in middle belts, who are also agitating one way or the other, they do not want to hear it. So, whether they're doing it violently or they're doing it peacefully, like the protest that we're going to have in Lagos, or that's going on in Lagos today. You already have the policemen all over the place trying to intimidate people not to protest peacefully. Which is, of course, you and I know is within their legal rights to protest anytime should they wish, as long as they're not hurting anyone, they're not destroying properties, they're not killing anyone, they have a right to do so. So this government is hell bent on intimidating anyone that dares speak up, putting the fear of God in them, not to even make as much effort as speak up. And look, where that's going to lead, as Doctor mentioned earlier, is people may go underground. And the worst form of warfare. I'm an international relations. I have a degree in international relations and strategic studies. I do know that the worst warfare you can indulge in is the war of asymmetric warfare, where you don't know who the enemy is. They are faceless.
Exactly.
America went into Iraq so many years ago. They had boots on ground. They had the wherewithal, and you know, they pummeled Saddam Hussein out of power, and to them the war was won. But guess what? They lost more men after the war than they did during the war. You know, and that's the danger of the war of asymmetry, because you don't know who the enemy is. People list themselves with bombs. They go to where the Americans are. They explode themselves. They kill 7, 5, 10 people like that. So we don't want to see that sort of situation play out in Nigeria, because insofar as the problems are not resolved, as far as we have those issues that led to the first civil war still playing out today, and no one is making an effort at least at addressing this issue, and you think the only way you can handle it is to ask people to just shut up, or you intimidate them, or you arrest you know, look, Nnamdi Kanu has followers. The amount of followers he has will tell you the way the people are thinking. The amount of followers Chief Sunday Igboho has will also tell you the way the people are thinking. If you coerce them, you use the guns to intimidate people, it's still not going to take away the problem. It's not going to change the mindset. It's not going to change, I mean, remove the problem. It's not going to make people feel any better than they were a few days ago or a few years ago. These problems are still here. The government, rather than intimidating people, you know, should make conscious efforts to resolve these issues. Wale, I've mentioned this so many times. I've always said it here, and I'm going to say it again. Like I've always said, I'm beginning to sound like a broken record. They need to have a genuine conversation.
Yes.
Even the countries that fought wars will come down to round table and discuss, you know, how there needs to be peace or how issues need to be resolved. So everything boils down to having a genuine conversation. And listen to these people. What are your issues? How do we, I mean, make a genuine effort at least at addressing these problems? Before the war, how many years ago, none of those things were resolved, and those things are beginning to rear their ugly heads again. So the government, you know, this tactic they're using, they might think is working, or you know, but at the end of the day, it's not going to give them, it's not going to give anybody peace. It's not going to give them the results that they want to achieve, because the problem will still linger. The problem is still there, and as long as those problems are there, people will keep agitating. People will keep wanting to see the right thing done. I mean, there have been talks about Nnamdi Kanu's followers being illiterate. My brother, let me tell you the truth. We have so many lettered people, professors, you know, doctors who sympathize with Nnamdi Kanu's cause and are actually, you know, supportive of what he's doing. So for anybody to sit down somewhere and say, "Oh, his followers are illiterate traders, they are this, they are that," you know. I was listening to a program, I think it was 2 days ago, and somebody was analyzing and saying, "Look, if you think his followers are illiterate, the educational qualification for somebody to run as the president of Nigeria or even take a position in the Senate will be school cert, isn't it? To have a school certificate, first school, you know. They say, even conduct a referendum, make, you know, set the benchmark at anyone who needs to participate in this referendum need to have a minimum of school cert, and see the way the people will vote, see where their hearts lie. So, you know, they're living in denial if they think, you know, they're just going to muscle everyone and the problem is going to end. They're going to drive them underground, drive them into asymmetry, and no one wants to see that. There's still an opportunity now to dialogue. There's an opportunity now that they have, even in Nnamdi Kanu, you know, in detention, to still have a conversation. If they love this country, if they mean well for the country, and they want to see this country in peace, they need to have that conversation. Conversation. That's all we need to resolve it.
Thank you very much, Elvis. And you know, you made strong points there. You know, especially around whether the issues violent means, which we don't advocate for, or whether the issues you know, peaceful means, that we're having a government that doesn't even give anyone any option anyway, in terms of whether they want to approach this peacefully or they want to approach it the other way. And he also made, valid points around, who leads a revolution? Is it the most educated person in any society? People that follow world history, they know that if revolutions are not led by by professors or the most, academia or whatever, they are mostly led by commoners that just, fed up about situation of things and want to change things around. I will go to Dr. Stephen Omifolaji now, and I want Doctor to take us back in history. There are many viewers now that probably in 1984 they were not born. In 1984, I know where I was in 1984, but I've been following a bit of politics and history for a long time. But we have viewers that they were not born then. People have, in about a week, people have, spoken and written about Umaru Diko. And that incident in 1984, where under Buhari, he went after Umaru Diko, and people have they've linked the rearrest of Nnamdi Kanu as a recreation of that Umaru Diko era. Can you tell us, our viewers or just our young viewers that, were not born at the time, your recollection of Umaru Diko case at the time and the role played by Buhari?
Thank you very much for that question, my brother. I remember that time really around that 1984, after the Second Republic had failed, and the soldiers came to power. And at that time, I think they had this deal that they were going to try and let these politicians that have, mess up the country, let them pay for it. And Umar Diko happens to be one of those that stood very much prominently, especially from the northern side. And I remember Umar Diko was from the NPN, the National Party of Nigeria at the time, and with a staggering amount of money, said to be in his pocket. So the story was that they went and kidnapped him in UK, and they actually wanted to bring him to Nigeria. And they couldn't get all the necessary legal aspect to do it. Umar Diko, of course, being so rich, he's got all the lawyers that fought all the extradition, attempt, fought all the legal attack to try to bring him to the country legally. And they now say, okay, they devised some, the military just decided to do it in the military operation staff. So he was kidnapped, and they tried to then get him in a crate. That was the story. Got him in a crate in the plane. Sure. And I think as they were trying to bring him over in a plane, some people alerted the authority. They saw somebody being smuggled in the crate into the plane, and contacted the authority. That was why they thwarted the whole thing, and all those that were involved actually eventually entered into a lot of legal problems in UK that time. And that's how Umar Diko was saved, and they thwarted the deportation that these people wanted to do, because the hunter became the hunted, that they were now being charged for kidnapping and all those things. So you see, at that time, I believe he still had the zeal to purify Nigeria or to try to repair the damage that has been done. But what I would see from this, from Buhari, since he came to power now as a politician, is that I think he is a change man altogether. Unfortunately, people did not see the change when they were voting then. And I still remember all the politicians in the South trying to, say he was honest, he was trustworthy, he was the kind of person that they think can actually bring Nigeria back to his senses, and try to support him. Tinubu being one of the foremost that was fighting for him. Now he got there, and of course, he started playing a different ballgame altogether. So it's not the Messiah, obviously, that we're looking for. And if anything, we've seen now there is loyalty, and his main focus seems to be the preservation of the status quo and the dominance of the Fulani people over the rest of the country. And there's so much of arrogance that he has demonstrated in the way he has been attending to the situation in the country, so much that he's just only focused in silencing every dissenting voice. It's not really focused on solving the problem at hand. If the wheel are falling off the cart, and some of the people in the cart are saying, look, Oga driver, the wheels are falling off the cart. Shall we stop and fix it? And all that the driver or the commander in the car. All he's saying is, shut up, shut up. What is it? There's no problem here. We know that that kind of car, that vehicle is doomed. So unfortunately, this arrogance that we're seeing now being demonstrated in the way of pursuing the dissenters vigorously, while you are leaving those who are actually using arms to advance their cause, to advance their message in certain parts of the country. While you are leaving them alone, you are kind of pacifying them, you are rewarding them. What you're actually saying is that people, the only language I can understand, the only language I can respect is when you use violence. And that's very sad indeed. Because what is that? Where is that going to take our country? We don't advocate for violence here on this platform. We've said it over and over. But if a government is behaving the way they are behaving, they are just going to encourage people that, look, oh, there's no other way. We have no choice here. For these people to listen to you, it seems like you have to show some muscle. And the muscle they're going to show is going to be leading to loss of lives. It's so easy to get guns. It's so easy to get armed. It's so easy. But it's better, more civilized, to talk and negotiate for the sake of our people. But if the government is not listening to every dissenting voice and is harassing them the way they are harassing them, it's going to drive them underground. And when they go underground, then it's difficult then to actually know who your enemy is. And asymmetrical warfare is something that doesn't finish quickly, and it can be very disruptive. So that's the way I see it. And from history that we have seen, back in the time when we were in the uni, we used to demonstrate the way the government, especially the government led by the Northerners, the way they lead it is always by saying, let's shut the mouth of the leaders, let's arrest the leaders, let's do this, and they intimidate and do all those things. But unfortunately, in this case, it's not going to work, because it's not just a matter about the students. This is a matter about the whole nation.
Very much, Dr. Omifolaji. First, for that historical perspective, I'm sorry to put you on the spot there with Umar Odiko. That was 1984. That is nearly, I was 30, almost 37 years ago, but you still recapture it very well, as far as I know. That was what happened. So thanks for that. And also you made some important points around, loyalty in terms of President Buhari, in terms of loyalty to preservation of the status quo. That unfortunately, his loyalty is not to the Nigerian people; it's actually to the preservation of the status quo and the level of arrogance that we've seen. We can actually forgive someone, if you are ignorant. We can deal with that. We all have a level of ignorance one way or the other. But if you are ignorant and then you still combine that with arrogance, that is just a recipe for disaster. And that's what we see with this man. He's ignorant in a lot of ways, and his arrogance also is just, you just shake your head sometimes. So that will lead me to, time is fast spent. I'm trying to be a good timekeeper here. So that would lead me to the last question to Dr. Vicky Omifolaji. And it's just around the same topic about, it appears Buhari is the most, ethnic bigot we've ever had in this country, as a president. On this program, we've spoken about many months back about the repentant terrorist. And now, they had this graduation ceremony for them. And you see them, they even give them uniform, like white and white uniform. These are terrorists. And then they do a kind of graduation ceremony for them and give them money. I give them money. Yeah. So, Dr. Vicky, so what is your take on this? Can you think of any most, obviously, ethnic bigot that we've ever had in terms of occupying that #1 position as the president of this country? I'm just thinking, I can't even think of anyone ever in recent memory to be in that position.
I have thought about this, and I actually come up with one. Maybe they tried in the privacy of their homes to do certain things, but not as open as this has. This had been so out there that anyone with mind, anybody with eyes can see clearly that this is just not right. This is not right. somebody that I respected so much put something on Facebook earlier on today, and that person was talking about showed Sunday Igboho and all those arms and ammunitions they found in his house. And the person was saying, look at the leader of the Yoruba nation. The person was just being derogatory. And I made it just, I don't make comments on things like that, but this time around, I just couldn't let it go. What I had to say to that person was, what is good for the goose is good for the gander. I'm not sure if I put that upside down.
Yeah, correct.
But
you're right.
Part of the same country, they are free to roam up and down the street with guns, AK-47, not a tiny gun, not AK-47. They are free to roam the street. They are free to go to any suburb and wipe everyone down,
anybody's
wipe
farm,
everyone out, and nothing has been nothing, no repercussion, nothing. And now we have one part of the country that says enough is enough. Enough of dialogue. We've been dialoguing. How long now have we been dialoguing? How long have we been talking about this thing? Saying nothing is being done. Nobody's taking us seriously. The leader of the country, whose his own people are the one perpetrating all these atrocities, is doing nothing. Now, somebody say, no, we this has to stop. Let's help ourselves. Let's be our own protectors. Let's look after ourselves. One of our shows a while back, I talked about self-actualization. What are those processes? Hierarchy of need. When we are in a place, in a country whereby we provide our own electricity, we provide our own water, we provide our own security, do we really have government? Now, they are claiming that they had this, they seized all these ammunitions, they seized all these guns from this man's house, they claimed. And that is the case. What are we going to do? Don't we have the right? I mean, I'm not sure about the government, the law, but the point is, people need to get to the point where they have to protect themselves against all these people. Now, you're talking about whether, I mean, I looked back, I looked at all the the presidents that we've had. None have been so out there, so open, so on. Doesn't hurt anything. Do we have to get to this point before you start saying, okay, shoot at sight? Because that was the response that person gave me when I said, no, this is what you're saying here is disappointing. And he said, oh, no, that was old news because the president had given a new rule that shoot at sight, any herdsman, shoot at sight, any whatever. Why did it have to get to this point? You're now asking us to shoot at sight. Why did it get to this point? And do you think those people will back down because you've given so much power, so much time to be ahead?
How are we going to shoot them if we don't have the gun?
How are we going to shoot them? All right. So enough is enough. The point is, this man just doesn't care. Is there, serving some people, not the country, not the people of the country. So I think that's it.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Vicky. And I think sorry.
Yeah. Well, can I just add one or two?
Yeah, please
things?
go ahead. Yeah.
All right. In relation to that question you posed to Dr. Vicky, I'm just going to provide a few highlights so that viewers can make those assertions themselves. So you're talking about a president who, in 1984, when he came into power, after after their coup,
the coup of that
head of state
against Buhari,
exactly.
Sorry, against Shagari,
You're talking about a president, I mean, a head of state who at the time put a Shagari, who was the president, under house arrest. Had an Ekwueme, who was the vice president, in Kirikiri. You're talking about a president in this, today, who will condone the northern governors to have their northern governors pally all the time without anybody raising a voice of dissent. The same president will now, show his anger when the southern governors also hold their own meeting. And what did he say at the time? That, this is a mere show of force. He said at the time, not quite happy with the fact that they held that meeting. And on top of that, went ahead to say, look, I'm going to reignite the old grazing routes. Invariably telling us, you can't stop grazing. These governors are saying, look, this is a cause of problem in our areas, a major cause of insecurity. We don't want grazing anymore on our land. And our president tells us, just after that, I'm going to reopen the grazing routes, all grazing routes, whether you like it or not. This is a president who will, during his term, a Sunday Igboho's house is attacked. People are hurt or killed in his residence. Will go as far as abducting Nnamdi Kanu from wherever, and condone a Gumi who is going to negotiate with terrorists. And a Gumi who tells you, the bandits they're kidnapping people for money. They're not killing people. And you're talking about a president who, when he came into power, they were going to disarm. It just akin to two people fighting. You hold, just like Doc said, you put the handcuffs on one person's hand, and the other person is telling him right, left. They were going to disarm people. Bring in your arms, and these guys are carrying AK-47 up and down. None has been convicted till date.
No.
I didn't even know. They were going through what is it called? Graduation. Were they giving graduation gowns too?
It was Buba. It was Buba and Shokoto.
Buba and Shokoto, green and white.
Green and white.
And Sunday actually they took them to Dubai.
And so they are representative of Nigeria. That's why they are wearing the Nigerian flag. They are representative of Nigeria.
Yeah. You're talking about a president who, when he came into power, I don't understand the mathematics anymore. You can't treat 5% who didn't vote for you the same as you would treat the rest of the country who voted en masse for you. You're talking about a president who has described a certain section of the country as a dot. And then he goes on to, I hear people feel out there is that, he wasn't referring to the Igbos. He didn't just say the dot. If he was referring to IPOB alone, do you remember he also said, they own properties all over the country. IPOB don't own properties all over the country. But in that same space, you have a set of people who are taking over territories and hoisting their flags. And nobody has been arrested. Nobody has been killed. I'm just trying to buttress the fact that the president is not the father of the nation. He's the father of a certain section of the country. He has displayed it in his language, his body language, his actions, and every way you can think of. Every way.
Yeah, that's a very good summary, Elvis, in terms of providing those relevant information. So because of time, we do, Doctor, what we normally do, we go for what we call the final words, where I go around the panel, you just give us your final words for tonight. So I will start with you. I'll go back to Elvis, and then I will hand the baton to Dr. Vicky to close the show. I'm trying to be a good timekeeper. I'm still above that hour mark. I will get there one day. So Doctor man.
That's right, my brother.
So your final words for tonight.
Yeah, my final words. Well, in this case, is that where the country is at a crossroad, And the leader, our president, and all his entourage, they have the future of this country partially in their hands. The direction of how things are going to go, they have a huge role to play here. Whether the place is going to be habitable by all of us, or whether we're going to go their different ways. Whether we're going to resolve our problems peacefully, or we're going to be fighting at each other's throat in an asymmetrical war going forward, it's going to be determined by how our leader handles this message, that is being sent across to him. I just hope he makes the right decision. Though so far, from all his actions, there's nothing encouraging. But we still continue to pray for him. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Elvis Nwachukwu.
Oh, Wale, thank you. Again, every night we come on this show, I make those comments to say, look, what we need is to have a genuine conversation. Nothing surpasses, a conversation. Like when you have the first step in in solving a problem is identifying that you have one. They have clearly seen that there's a problem. That problem is half solved when you identify it. The next stage is making that genuine effort, that concerted effort at resolving the problem. We are far gone, but it's still not too late. We can still have a genuine conversation. The president or those in positions of authority, if they have the will, can still resolve these issues. Show it's sincerity of purpose at wanting to address this problem. People are not idiots. If they see that you're behaving and you want to resolve the problem, everyone will be open to resolving this issue. And where does that start? It starts by having a conversation. We need to start having that conversation. They need to start engaging people. Don't think by persecuting an Nnamdi Kanu or putting the fears of God into Sunday Igboho, you're going to solve the problem. If anything, you're going to worsen it. There's still time now. God has a purpose for still keeping us together up till this moment. We don't want to see any bloodsheds. There's still time. It's not too late for us to retrace our steps and try to fix those issues that people are not happy about. It's in the hands of the government. If they're there genuinely for the people, to resolve these issues. So everything still boils down to having that genuine conversation.
Thank you very much. And thanks to Blessing Kolade for being part of the program tonight. Thanks to Tolu Felicity. Thanks to Olaya and a few other ones that have been part of the show tonight. Thanks to Uche Okonko. Thanks so much, my brother. And thanks to all our viewers that are there. We hope to see you again next week. So I hand over back to Dr. Vicky Omifolaji to close the show for tonight.
Thank you.
Wow, what another great show we've had. I want to first of all thank my Dr. Stephen Omifolaji. Thank you for coming to the show tonight.
You're welcome.
He's a shy one. I'm the outgoing one. So I dragged him in today. And here he is, because it's about politics all the time. But he doesn't like to do what we do. But I dragged him in tonight. So thank you for honoring our invitation and sharing a little bit about what you know about Niger politics. So,
you're welcome.
Yes, we've had a great one tonight. A lovely discussion. That's yeah, sad, but what else can we say? Keep praying for our country, and we keep doing what we have to do. Sometimes I do hear from people asking me, what will all your discussions do? You talk about this every week. What will it do? What do you hope to achieve? And I believe that, and my answer to them had always been, our words, what we say, they are seen as seeds that we are planting. Sometimes when those seeds are germinating, nobody sees them. When somebody start looking at what we're talking about and start thinking, what can we do? Let's get together, let's do this. We're not even going to be there. But maybe that's it. get planted during the Nigeria Women Show. So we just keep talking, and hopefully something great will come out, and our Nigeria that we want will become our realization. So I want to thank Dr. Stephen Omifolaji, our guest panelist today, Elvis Nwachuku and Wale Olaiton. Thank you for coming on and for sharing and for, having all this genuine and frank discussion about the situation of our country, our beautiful country. Thank you again to all our viewers for coming onto the show and watching us tonight. We appreciate you. We actually appreciate you. Thank you. And until next Saturday, when we come back and we talk about another great topic, we hope you have a lovely, lovely Sunday. You take care. God bless you all. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
It's LC the beat guy.